Welcome to Healthy Living, episode number 70 at workoutmaster.com. This is Ruben.
That's Aram.
And today is super exciting episode since we live close to South Beach and people get drunk here every night and every day.
People get drunk around the corner and we're not near South Beach at all.
Nowhere near close to South. Anyway, we're going to talk about alcohol and how it can affect your health on a good or bad level. We're just going to tear it apart and see what we can do about it. Mr. Serrano, what do you think?
I think alcohol, at one point, it used to be a lot of fun, but it's no fun anymore because I come to realize how much it's damaging my health. I was never an alcoholic or anything close to that, but and neither I was a daily drinker for that matter, but I begin to see patterns that kind of kept me up for a while, thinking how it has damaged, the lining of my intestine, my stomach, and all the sensibilities that you can have to the different, chemicals that they put in alcohol. By the way, it's full of chemicals, alcohol, even wine oftentimes, beer, and
so let's talk about what's bad about it. What's bad about alcohol?
Well, let's talk about what's good at it, because that we can make a very short episode.
What's good about alcohol?
Not a lot.
Well, for example,
what's good about alcohol? Well, there's some people that say that actually that drinking a glass of wine with food has increased the life expectancy of people in Spain, France, Greece, Italy, and I think that's absolutely BS. Most likely because they actually that research that was done was bought and paid for the people that actually make the wine, or any wine association or any kind of program funded by wine companies. I don't think it's true. What those countries have in common that us Americans don't have is that they take naps. No, I'm not saying everybody.
that's coming from a Spaniard.
That's correct. That's coming from a Spaniard, where we take our siesta very seriously. We live lives that are a lot less stressed out, although, the whole world is becoming very Americanized in the sense of how much pressure there is on ourselves. They eat a lot of good food, very healthy. They eat planned meals every day. There's always a lunch hour, there's always a dinner time. Breakfast is a little bit more touch and go because of the different schedules that people have. And we put a lot of emphasis on eating very good food and prepare it very well, because it's a known fact that when you go to any European country, food is something that it gets done with priority, with a lot of love and a lot of good intention, because you kind of express it. It's a form of expression.
I understand it, but I personally think that there is some good to alcohol.
Well, you can,
when they do research, they find, let's say, antioxidants. I'm sure there's antioxidants there.
Yeah, but to do that, but when you want to put it in perspective, Aaron, yeah, wine contains antioxidants from the tannins that there are, within the grape leaf, the skin of the grapes and stuff like that. But when you put it in perspective, how much antioxidant have you consumed in regards to how much pro-oxidants or free radicals you actually taken, it might not equate.
Oh, I understand. We're not. I'm just talking about good things.
Keep talking.
Another good thing besides antioxidants is the fact that it's actually fermented food. The wine and beer is a fermented product, and a lot of times have a good bacteria. Now, that if this thing hasn't been pasteurized and destroyed at the end, which is most likely what you're going to buy in the store. So when they talk about wine in France, they generally talk about wine that's been pretty much just made. Then it has a whole lot better qualities than the wine that has been bottled, processed, stored, and sold to you at some point. So two things, antioxidants and fermentation provide you with the good things. Now let's talk about bad things. Number one bad thing, it creates a lot of problem with the blood sugar regulation. Even if you look at our episodes about blood sugar regulation, you'll find why is that a huge issue. Yeah?
Alcohol is the simplest form of sugar.
Absolutely.
So it will make your blood sugar levels go through a major roller coaster when you consume alcohol, especially in an empty stomach.
That's the only thing that gets digested through your mouth without going through your digestive tract. So as soon as you start drinking alcohol, it pretty much gets directly into your bloodstream. That is why a lot of drugs made with alcohol to deliver drug faster into your bloodstream.
Right, and
Yeah.
it gets absorbed always through the stomach wall very quickly too.
Of course,
it crosses the blood barrier, rather quickly. Alcohol,
Okay.
along with that other, components.
So it creates trouble with blood sugar regulation. It is loaded with different chemicals, traces of pesticides, herbicides they use on grapes or other products. Has a lot of coloring agents, has a lot of preservatives. Yeah, so that can create a lot of a toxic load on you. What else?
Well, alcohol itself, actually, I've read in certain studies that actually when you drink some type of an alcohol that was made with a particular, base, let's say for example that whiskey and scotch and bourbon, they're usually made out of a mash of different grains. If you drink that alcohol and that alcohol itself creates some type of a porous environment inside of your stomach, you will become also allergic or intolerant of those same grains that actually compose the liquor, whether it was whiskey, scotch, bourbon, whatever that was as a source. Let's say that you drink a lot of wine and that wine is beginning to erode in your health. Well, the same thing is going to be true of that too, that you'll slightly begin to develop that leaky gut syndrome, that porous intestinal wall, and you'll become also intolerant or allergic to grapes, to the main ingredient that makes up those.
Absolutely. So it can create a lot of trouble with the food sensitivity. Another very important point that it can actually create a lot of inflammation. Remember, high blood sugar, low blood sugar creates a lot of stress response. So alcohol is an ability to create a stress response, and a secondary to stress response, you end up having a lot of inflammation. Inflammation creates a chaos in your body like you would not imagine actually. You probably can't imagine. Just look around at people around you that drink and you'll see how inflamed they are. You can see it in their skin, their face, pretty much in everything that they do. So inflammation is a big, big issue. Problem with the stomach, as you said. Anything else?
Yeah, hormonal fluctuations. Actually, alcohol is being researched to actually decrease your testosterone level by 60% after just the consumption of 1 glass of wine, up to 85% of your total serum testosterone after 2 glasses of wine. So if you're in some sort of an exercise program because you want to change your physique and you want to add muscle or want to lose body fat, etc., whatever that goal might be, alcohol is going to be, is going to create a nice block, a roadblock for you to achieve those goals due to the fact that it's actually going to decrease, the production of hormones that are, a necessity to achieve those goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that possibly can happen, it can actually affect your sex life, because your sex life basically depends on the hormones, things like testosterone and estrogen, and it definitely can create a chaos in your sex life. Now, I think it's very important to cover a point. Well, a lot of people still drink, they will drink, doesn't matter what. I think it's very important to understand that you can actually drink responsibly and do a few things to avoid the damage that can be done by alcohol. Yeah? And one of them is very important one is that you have to understand that alcohol is basically a carbohydrate, so it's a simple sugar. You would want to, when you drink it, you would want to combine it with a lot of fat and protein, specifically fat. So the combination of drinking and eating is generally not good. It's a whole lot better if you eat than drink.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you drink, try to wait until you eat. So you eat something that has fat content in it, a butter, a coconut oil, a grass-fed animal fat. You would want to have some steak, something a little have more substance to it. And then you can have your glass of wine. Hopefully it's an organic wine with no garbage in it.
Yeah, but the interesting thing to the fact, let's say that you go to eat somewhere or you go to a friend's house or whatever, the first thing that they have at the table while you're actually, waiting to eat or preparing the food at, at somebody's house or somebody's preparing it for you, the first thing that they offer you is a glass of wine or a cocktail, and then they have some type of a snack while you're waiting for food, and it's usually carbohydrate based.
Absolutely.
So, timing is of the essence when we mean that you have to wait to ingest any alcohol, if you're going to have any, until you have eaten a certain amount of food, so the effect on the body is not as bad. Obviously, it is a known fact that if you eat with an empty stomach, you don't get as hammered. But are you drinking alcohol to get hammered, or are you drinking alcohol to just enjoy the flavor of whatever it is that you're consuming?
That is another question.
If you drink an alcohol just to get, you know, shit-faced, well, just make sure that your stomach is nice and empty, because it's gonna hit you a hell of a lot faster, and you're gonna need, you know, less money for that particular affair.
For sure.
So,
all right. Did you have anything else?
Not that I can think of right now, but you know, just touching bases on those basic, you know, reactions that alcohol has on the body.
Yeah. It's very important to understand what kind of chaos it can create and what you can avoid it.
Yeah.
So you guys already know what kind of chaos it can create in your body. You know how to avoid it. One is by not drinking, another one by eating fat and protein when you consume it.
Yeah, and for people that have, you know, a big urge to lose body fat and stuff like that, I think alcohol by far is the last thing that you want to be playing with, because it will bring those efforts to a screeching halt.
Yeah, as fast as you down that glass of drink. Remember, guys, your future looks better already, especially when you don't drink. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much.